All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Maxwell McGee here at the EA Summer Showcase, and today I am joined by
Michael Gamble, and I'm a producer at BioWare.
Hey there, Mike. And as you folks at home may have guessed, we are checking out the new Mass Effect 3 single-player DLC. Remind me what the name of this DLC is again?
It's called Leviathan.
Leviathan. So we're skipping ahead to about the middle portion of your demo you guys are showing off here today. Why don't you go ahead and set this DLC up for us and tell us about the scene that we missed here in the beginning.
Sure. So, Leviathan for us has been all about exploration. The focus is to chase a mysterious Reaper killer and throughout the galaxy, find out where he's located at, and that's kind of the real focus of it. And in doing so, Shepard gets to see a whole bunch of new planets, and this is just one of those planets that he gets to visit while he's trying to chase down Leviathan. And as a result, when you're going through the mission, you can see amazing new locales and vistas, places that we've never really visited before in the Mass Effect universe. So, for example, you may have seen earlier that this is kind of a water world. The vistas on the horizon of the dead ships. That's kind of indicative of the level of mystery and darkness that this pack is. Sort
of a spooky isolation kind of feel going on.
Exactly. If you're gonna go after a creature who's as fabled and as mysterious as Leviathan, you better well have a sequence of really mysterious worlds to have him on.
And we've also got some new firepower as well.
That's right. We've got a couple new weapons. The Argus is one of those weapons, and Nick has chosen that as well. We've also had the Firefight pack, which comes out next week. That's a whole bunch of new weapons. So take Leviathan and the Firefight pack, and you basically expanded your arsenal by a total of 9 weapons in Mass Effect 3.
And I noticed it looks like Vega was using the Rieger Carbine introduced in multiplayer.
That's right. So the Firepower Pack has 2 brand new single-player weapons, but 5 bonus weapons. And some of those bonus weapons have come from either previous pre-orders, which were unavailable to most of our other public, or multiplayer weapons. The Rieger Carbine is one of those, and the Cerberus Harrier is another one, and that's extremely popular.
So it looks like we're under attack by Reaper forces now. Can you give us an idea of how far along in this DLC mission we are, and about how long it is, give or take?
Sure. So Leviathan can run anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. As I mentioned, it's all about exploration. It's all about scaling the galaxy, and because of that, it can vary. But this is about 3/4 way through that total 3-hour time. And yeah, it's just a generally meaty piece of single-player content, and we're really happy to release it. So as you can see here, the Reapers have obviously found Shepard because they're always hot on the tail of Shepard. Whenever he has something interesting to go after, the Reapers seem to find him, and so they've tracked him to this remote water world, and it
looks like we got shot down real quick there. Let's jump ahead and try that again real quick. All right, Mike, so this idea of a Reaper killer storyline, of this mysterious Reaper killer alien, was that an idea that you guys had early on when establishing the world of Mass Effect, or is this a recent story that the team has come up with?
Well, it's a bit of both. Like most things with Mass Effect, we always set out with an arc that we want to tell, a high-level story that we want to tell, and then as we develop the missions, the details really come together. So one of the key themes of Leviathan is finding out the origins of the Reapers. And with Leviathan, that part of it, we knew that we wanted to tell and tie that somehow into this DLC, somehow into the experience. That part of it we knew. Where you went in search of Leviathan and the adventures you went on with your squad members, that's kind of what we figured out as we went through.
Now, does the information you learn about the Reapers in this DLC, to as much as you can reveal, does that tie in at all with what the catalyst tells you at the end of the game itself?
Without spoiling too much, because it is kind of endgame material, but yes, there is definitely a tie, and we were 100% aware and considerate of the extended cut content while making Leviathan, so there may be a few Easter eggs in there.
So it looks like Cortez has been shot down.
Yeah, so Cortez has got hit by an EMP. Obviously, whoever's on this planet doesn't want anyone to be there. As you see in the background, there's a whole bunch of ship husks, and because of that, there's high energy EMPs on this planet. Cortez is basically battling to keep things afloat, and you just basically have to buy him time. Shepard knows that there's something on this planet. It's just the next breadcrumb in the trail to Leviathan.
Stats. Shuttle's a mess, Commander. That pulse knocked it right out of the air. We're not going anywhere. What about the Normandy? Joker can swing by. Same thing would happen to her. The landing won't be as pretty.
So essentially what they're saying now is, that there's a way to get off, there's a way to power up the ship, and it just involves a manual connection. And there, of course, it falls on Commander Shepard to make the manual connection for the power.
And we aren't getting out of here until we find it. So how do we do that?
Well, you might be able to use a mech. Looks like it's rigged to
And of
dive.
course he says, oh, there's a diving mech that we can explore the bottom of the ocean in.
How convenient.
Yes, how convenient. It's really good paraphrasing of the game.
It's a long ways down. Not gonna sugarcoat it.
I hear you. Time's wasted.
You see Shepard has the Cerberus Harrier on him there.
We actually consider it.
First, we'll need to restore power to get that
Part of the
cargo
firefight
door
pack.
open.
How?
Nick?
These old Valor-class ships are equipped with exterior power sockets. They use them for emergency
So yeah, he's just
repairs.
calling out the power nodes, the manual power nodes there.
Shuttle and use those for juice. Hang on, I'll get you started. Got a cell phone.
So we've learned a lot from doing the Mass Effect multiplayer, and part of the cool new game modes that we put into multiplayer, we're able to take some of those learnings, bring them back into single player. And
Yeah, I noticed this mission type looked very familiar to some of the find and recover missions that I've completed in multiplayer.
Exactly.
Grab another cell, Shepard. We'll hold them all.
So it seems to me Shepard needs to go out to these points, collect the energy. Does he need to get up to 100% before going back to Cortez?
Yep. And then once that happens, you are
Then you're able to open that like hangar door and get access to the mech.
yeah.
Now, can you tease at all some of the overarching ramifications the Leviathan DLC is going to have on the remainder of the single-player campaign?
Well, I won't talk too much about the details of it, but as you know, Mass Effect 3 is all about the war with the Reapers, gathering assets throughout the galaxy. And part of the original reasons that Shepard went after Leviathan was because it was fabled that it was rumored that he could kill a Reaper. Leviathan could kill a Reaper by himself. And out of that's where Shepard obviously wants to speak, talk, work with Leviathan.
Somehow communicate with.
Exactly. And that theme is how it affects the overall Mass Effect 3 story. Good, so Nick's charged up everything. You should have access to the Atlas now, Nick.
All right, and if I remember my demo correctly, this mech is going to help us turn the tides against the skirmish we have with the Reapers going on right now.
It should. It should help.
Because poor Vega and Garrus, they certainly weren't able to do it.
Down for the count. So you saw the melee stomp there. Turned him into goo.
So for anyone who's ever hijacked an Atlas in the other single-player campaign, this should be pretty familiar ground, right?
Straightforward, yeah. But the real beauty of the use of this Triton mech, this underwater diving mech, is actually still to be seen. This combat is not very indicative of what Shepard really uses it for.
I know a lot of people will be very concerned about like the ratio between combat and like story / exploration. Like, can you give any idea? Is this more focused on one or the other? Or are you guys trying to find a balance?
So, like I mentioned earlier with multiplayer, we were able to really define and finesse our combat a lot. So, because we did all that content, we brought it kind of 180 for Leviathan. So it's extremely focused on single player, story, exploration. A lot of these things that really make Mass Effect DLC great. Shadow Broker, Arrival, things that we've done before. So we took our tools from those previous pieces and brought that into Leviathan. So now James and Shepard are talking, and Cortez is going to say, hey, it's time to take this mech to places beyond this boat.
Systems are a go. It's as ready as I can make it.
Let's go.
Take care down there, Commander.
Closing hatch.
Engaging systems. Ray.
Testing comm ring.
I think the DLC for us is a place that we can do, fantastic things that we didn't really do in the main game. try new things, different things. So, if you remember back to ME2, you look at Lair of the Shadow Broker, we had an amazing, car chase through the streets of Ilium. For Leviathan, we're basically doing the same sort of thing where, we put Shepard in a place where he's never been before, underwater, deep underwater in search of things.
Yeah, I dare say it almost has a sort of Lovecraftian theme to it, diving down to the dark places where man was not meant to go to find some ancient intelligence.
Absolutely. Yeah, you hit it there. So the deeper you get, obviously the more risk Shepard is in. The pressure increases on the mech.
Also building an intense sense of isolation here for poor Shepard, usually surrounded by all of his teammates and coworkers.
Yep. This area really kind of, comes to life when you're sitting alone with your headphones on and, the music's in the background. It's very isolated down here. So here we have Shepard, at the bottom of the ocean, looking for a probe that was originally his clue of what might be on this planet. So the player can, explore and, avoid certain death. That's about all we want to show for the demo. We want to cut it off at the spoiler level because past here is pretty spoilerific. So.
Well, Mike, can you give us an idea of when this DLC will become available?
Sure. I mean, we're shooting for as soon as possible, obviously. Right now the date is summer, so you can expect it very soon. And Leviathan has a price point of $9.99.
And then the Firefight pack as well, will that be out around the same time?
The Firefight pack actually comes out next Tuesday, August 7th. And that's $199. It has 7 weapons, 2 of them brand new, 5 of them from pre-order and multiplayer previously. Yeah, we're really excited about both of them.
Thank you for talking with us, and thank you folks at home for watching, and be sure to stay tuned to GameSpot.com for more coverage.